You dumb, beautiful fucker.
Who wants to be in America's slash fic with Abraham Lincoln?
Louisiana Purchase, that's a name.
You need to really get off my balls, okay? I'm gonna kick your ass.
Also, why was Michelangelo so stinky? Ew.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode number 4 in the Fast and Furious files.
Would it be 5? No, you're right. You're right. It is 4.
We doubled up on the last one. It's been a minute. Just had some real life stuff that kind of kept us from doing these little extra special episodes. We have the time to dedicate to it again, so we're getting back up to speed. So, as always, I'm your host, Patrick, and joining me today is my partner riding shotgun.
It's Jonathan.
And so we're getting back to the Fast and Furious files. Just a little, like, a bit of a roadmap we hope to stick to going forward. Since at the time of this recording, Fast 9 is still slated to come out in May. So what we'll be doing is from here on out, we'll sort of be doubling up on the movies per episode and make sure it still comes out in time with the projected release of Fast 9.
Yeah, so let's get to this butt-fuck movie.
Because we're finally touching I would say the crescendo of the series up to this point, and that's Fast 5.
Yes.
And it's been a long time coming, because we've been wanting to get to this one for a while. Just a little bit of note up front. This is Fast and Furious 5, or the Rio Heist, as its alternate title is known.
Okay.
Back in the director's seat is Justin Lin, and this released on April 29th, 2011, which was the 10th anniversary of the original movie's debut.
Hell yeah.
Which is crazy to think that when that movie came out, Fast and Furious had been out for 10 years, and then this year it'll be out for 20 years.
Jesus Christ, where is time gone? Because I remember when the first one came out, and it was a pretty big deal, at least mainstream cinema at the time.
Yeah, and I know with Furious 2009 really sort of rebooted the series, and it was the most financially successful up to that point, and led them to doing Fast 5, which is basically it was so big that this was a lot of people's first movie that they saw, because they just heard so much clamor about it, because this is really the first time in the franchise's history they had positive I wouldn't say universal, but a substantial amount of positive acclaim for the movies.
Yeah, because and we've talked about it when we covered the first 4 movies. I mean, I would hesitate to call any of them good, maybe.
They're entertaining.
I mean, they're definitely entertaining, but yeah, they're definitely while I would throw them up on a Sunday afternoon, while I'm doing chores or something. I mean, they're definitely movies I wouldn't want to revisit that much. Maybe 2. Because 2's just fucking hilarious. Or Tokyo Drift for similar reasons.
Yeah.
But the first one, and definitely the fourth one, the fourth one to me was just dull. Despite
being the most technically proficient of the films so far.
Yeah, it was definitely the best technically up to that point, but it was just it tried to play it so straight, and it's but a lot of times in series like this where they try to play it straight, it kind of highlights how absurd the concept is.
Yeah, if you try to take it seriously, you realize you can't take it seriously because it's not realistic.
Yeah, it's sort of when they try to do realistic comic book movies, for instance. I know the Nolan Dark Knight trilogy is very acclaimed, and they're very good movies, but at the same time, it kind of highlights how fucking absurd the concept of Batman is. Just this fucking rich dude who dresses up like a bat and beats the shit out of people.
Yeah, so it's always best when you lean into what your strengths are, and it's just batshit insane action.
And that's what this entire movie is, and it's fucking great, honestly.
And like,
4.5 stars. I'm already saying it, and I think you gave it 5.
Because originally, my state of mind in our last viewing definitely influenced that. But and even sober Pat would say it's no less than 4.5 stars.
Oh yeah, and I mean, I don't know how other people like sort of rate movies. At least for me, I sort of rate movies based on like what they're going for. Like I wouldn't hold. Like, I would probably give this probably the same as, like, a Charlie Kaufman movie.
Yeah.
But, those are not comparable at all. Because they're going for two completely different things.
And you can really enjoy something, and it'd be just, like, vastly different in tonality and, like, substance than, like, some other movie. And that's equally valid. Because, at the end of the day, movies are about entertainment.
Yeah. And I feel like people who just sort of compare every movie to every other movie, it kind of hampers your ability to enjoy it. That's just sort of my opinion, because like I mean this movie is like on a technical level good. It's like a probably good like 7 out of 10, 6 out of 10 maybe. But like it just does a bunch of fucking crazy ass bullshit that makes it just so fun. And and like you said, it's a lot of times movies are just for fun,
and it's okay if obviously we're very deep early on, but like obviously you don't have to have like something that reinvents the wheel or has like some
or like 4D characters, because like I mean. These characters are real fucking simple.
I mean, and sometimes, keep it simple, stupid is an adage for a reason.
Exactly.
You don't have to get worried about all the mussy, fussy, like, layered stories, but we will argue that there's a surprising amount of layers in this film that you may not have realized. Of course, we're definitely on a different level of thinking when we watched it.
And what Pat means by that, we were 10 shots deep while watching this movie, and we were hooting and hollering.
Like when we say we were hooting, we were screaming because just all cards on the table. We intended when we watched this film for this viewing that we were going to play a drinking game. Every time they said family, we were going to take a shot. And let's just say the amount of shots taken for that word versus just for the hell of it vastly overweighs one to the other.
Yeah, because for as much as that's a fucking meme, only 2 families in the entire movie.
And it took an hour and 26 minutes to get to their first family.
I call bullshit.
And because they were fucking rubbing the tip the whole movie. Just fucking edging. And then like when they finally got it, it's like, thank you.
Because holy shit. God, you would have thought we were fucking insane, because every time they would say anything close to family, we would just fucking screech.
Just like on the edge of our seats, like, say it. Fucking say it.
and I mean, and that's not even to say, like, the first time we watched it, back the summer of last year, we were 100% sober for the most part. And God, the last like 20 minutes of this movie, I was just screaming,
because like this is probably what we watched it the other night. It's probably like my 5th time watching it, and I will say like Fast and Furious 5 was the very first Fast movie I ever saw, which I was a whack it for life because they just had so much buzz about it. I watched it on like fucking
TNT probably.
It's probably like not. It's one of the basic cable channels, I think.
Yeah,
like it's a real simple channel, and I'm just being like floored, just the audacity and every level of this movie is unheard of.
Oh, capital A audacity.
Like no one had the guts, the balls, or the zhuzh to do what they did in this movie before or since.
And like I don't want to hype it up too much, because I imagine like the way we're hyping it up, someone will go into it's like, oh, is that it?
But it's just like obviously we're very excitable, and like we were just in the moment, just enjoying the fucking romp of this thing. And like what was really thrilling for me is like the very first time we watched it together, like it was the first time John seen it, and just to see him react in real time to the last act of the movie was just a sight to behold. He's just like, what the fuck?
But I think we're getting ahead of ourselves. You know, we want to go talk about that fucking.
We definitely have to build up to it.
Yeah.
So this movie picks up immediately after the last movie, in Fast and Furious 2009, where Don is being carted away in a prison bus to the prison he swore he'd die before he went back to. But what's this we see across the horizon? It's the Toretto gang. It's his sister, his lover, Brian, and the Dominican brothers that we never really had any time with.
I mean, we really still don't, even though they're technically main characters in this movie.
Yeah, like
They're just kind of there.
we got a little taste in the Los Bandoleros, but that's kind of it. Like you have to go looking for that.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not anything really.
And then they had this crazy idea to break Dom out. But what if we just flip the bus?
And like, this is just like a tone setter for what the rest of the movie is going to be, because this bus just does like 7 fucking flips, but like and it starts out with like news coverage. You know, it's like, oh, this prison bus had, done whatever, flipped like 17 times. But they make a point and emphasize no one was hurt,
Even though,
but like I shit you not, the way this fucking bus flipped, like someone at least had to die,
like you'd be like mush.
because none of those fucking seats, I imagine, had a seat belt.
They're just fucking like a rock tumbler in there.
Just it's a fucking blender, or better yet, it's like one of those like paint can spinners.
Yeah,
Where they mix up paint.
but Don just dusts himself off, and they scoop him up and they hightail it out of there.
And then it just picks up, and they go their separate ways because they're on the run. They're wanted by the FBI. And so it cuts to sometime later, and Mia and Brian are in Rio de Janeiro.
Because I was thinking to myself today, it's like, okay, like we got to recap this, and I was like, wait, how did they get to Rio? Was that explained?
I think it's just like a cut.
Yeah, it just cuts to because they were in the Californian desert, and then they're just in Rio.
Which, like, one of the great things about this movie, kind of unironically, is just like the sort of the helicopter sweeping shots of Rio, and just how pretty it is. I mean, it is like you do see a lot of the slums, but there is some sort of a beauty in it too, not to like romanticize poverty or anything.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just like the scale of it all, because Rio is a beautiful place, but it's just kind of really densely populated, and it's how like everything's structured on these like very stratified like
mountains, basically.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you got the Jesus Christ statue.
The Christ Redeemer, the Cristo, the obligatory Cristo shot.
I mean, they definitely pull at least the rule of threes in that.
Yeah, and but what's funny is that, because the movie was filmed in 3 places, Rio, Puerto Rico, and Atlanta, and basically the only thing they really...
Yes, the Rio de Janeiro, Puerto Rico, and fucking Hotlanta.
because really the only things that were filmed in Rio were like the establishing shots.
I believe it.
Because when the production team went there scouting, they're like, okay, where are we going to film? They realized we can't film anything here. It's too crowded. It's too unconducive to like anything really. So they just had like the big environmental shots. And
and I imagine too, it's probably expensive as shit to film there too, like to get the permits and shit.
And plus, that's a big reason too. Because Puerto Rico gave them like a bunch of tax incentives.
Oh yeah,
and
I mean that's also the reason they probably filmed in Georgia too.
Yeah, because I know with Puerto Rico, there's like, hey, we'll cut you a break if you just come over here. Like, okay. And it is funny, like people have said, if you're from Puerto Rico or you're from Rio de Janeiro, it is like painfully obvious that most of the films in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, I can imagine. Like, I mean, like, I'm a dumb American. I didn't fucking...
It's like the tropical Southern American country. I mean, we don't know geography because we're dumb Americans.
Yeah. But, like, I mean, all I have to say to that, for them not being able to film in Rio de Janeiro, I say they're a bunch of fucking cowards. Because fucking Jackie Chan did similar shit in the fucking 80s. and he didn't give no fucks.
Mm-hmm. And he broke every bone in his body.
Oh, I can imagine.
And
all of his crew.
yeah, so they're all in it together. And the only thing they filmed, well, the last thing they filmed in Atlanta was the headquarters shot where like Toretto gang's hanging out as they plan this.
Like that warehouse they're in for a good chunk of the movie.
Because that was an abandoned train station that they retrofitted into an abandoned auto yard for the movie, and then that was somewhere in Atlanta. And that was the last part of the movie film, was all the stuff inside there.
Yeah.
So back to the actual plot, behind the scenes stuff aside, Rio, this massive, stratified, impoverished city, or Mia and Brian are like climbing around, and it's like, okay, we got to get through this like favela, and then like all these like people come out just strapped with guns.
And when we say guns, we're not talking about like side pieces. We're talking about like fucking AK-74s and shit.
Yeah, like just like full, like semi-automatic, fully automatic weapons. And then, but who should emerge from the rabble but an old face?
Mr. Mesh Tank Top himself.
Vince from the first movie. He's back living in Rio.
Yeah, apparently after as he explains, after the events of the first movie, and sort of the fallout of that, goes Central South America, and then ends up finding a wonderful lady, and they have kid, and he just stays there.
And because when you're gone for a long time, you introduce your family, only good things can happen to you.
Spoiler. But and then of course they talk with Vince, and then that leads to one last job, which they say that another time in this movie.
I think they say that in every movie going forward. It's like, this is it, we mean it this time. Okay.
I believe it when y'all go to space, goddammit.
And allegedly we're getting space in 10, according to Michelle Rodriguez.
I want fucking space. I want fucking mechs. I want fucking Gurren Lagann level butt fucking sanity, them throwing fucking galaxies at each other.
The galaxies are just the tires on their god car.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Okay, putting it out there, we're going to make an extra Fast and Furious file where we fantasy book the 10th and the final movie.
And aren't they splitting it into 2 as well?
Maybe. That was a rumor for a minute, but I don't know if that's still...
If that's confirmed or not.
Yeah. We're getting 10.
Yeah.
Whether or not we're getting 10 part 1, 10 part 2.
God. Part of me just kind of doesn't want this to end.
But I will say I do have an idea for a sequel, but we'll get to that after a while. They realize, okay, in order for us to get around and do what we need to do, we need to get resources, we need to get money, we need to get cars.
So what they need to do, they're going to rob a train.
And this isn't like sticking up a train, with your little 6-seater. No. We're going to steal cars off of a train.
Yeah, and so they have this fucking ATV, like, forklift type platform truck.
That's just like bumping through the desert.
Like, oh my God, their asses have to be on fire. Their bussies must hurt.
Hey guys, welcome to BuzzFeed. Today's list, the top 10 safest car for your bussy.
Coming in at number 10, whatever the fuck this is in Fast 5. Needless to say, your bussy will be quite sore in the morning, as the suspension on this is shit as fuck.
God. Also, side piece, we've been saying bussy at the house like crazy because of that TikTok. Oh, my bussy hurts.
God, we're fucking insane.
But yeah, speaking of insanity, they decided to like blow towards the side of this train off, and damn near killed himself when it blows off.
Yeah, it about decapitates their fucking ass. I'm like, what the fuck? And then, of course, Dom shows up at this point. He's a part of the deal. But then the shady guys that are with them are up to no good.
They up to some double crossing?
Up for some double crossing. And, one guy tries to come at, Vin Diesel. And he's, a third the size of Vin Diesel. I'm like, what the fuck you gonna do, bro?
Because I will say, every dude in this movie is at minimum 30% more jacked than they were the last time we saw them.
And that's saying something, because, fucking Vin Diesel's always been a big motherfucker.
And then you see like Vince, who's like, oh, he's just this twink punk, and he's just fucking jacked.
He's pretty jacked. You know, Brian's put on some lbs of muscle, you know, during the intermitting years. Even though, like, when he goes to Vince's place at the beginning of the movie, they kind of imply that they're starving because they haven't eaten in a while.
Yeah, because they're just like gobbling. But also, that's as a reference because they hungry.
They hungry. That will come back later. Call back.
And call forward, another literary device.
I think that's called foreshadowing, Pat. But anywho, so Double Cross goes down. They end up getting a couple of cars out. Fucking circuitous, like, action scene bullshit.
Yeah, where like one dude fucking dies.
Oh my god, like, just fucking brutally. Like, they throw him off the train as it's going over, like, an overpass type thing.
Yeah.
And he just hits the fucking railing. Like,
and just like, dude's like dead.
He dead. Like, fucking exploded.
And so like everybody gets off. So it's only people left in the gang is Dom's in a car that he got off of, but Brian's on the little hoopty mystery vehicle with like the wacky suspension.
Because something we forgot to mention was they, as he's fighting the guy to get control of that vehicle, they run into the fucking train, and it's still going.
Yeah, because like the little hoopty like crashes onto the train, and it just like can't break my stride.
Ain't gonna slow me down.
And so like there's this big like intense bro moment where Brian's gotta hop through the air into Dom's car.
Yeah, while Dom has to jump out of the fucking train car onto the ground in this car. And I'm sorry, that fucking car would have crumpled up like fucking aluminum. But it not a fucking scratch.
So like the train goes by, but they keep going. So like the train goes over another bridge, and they're just like, we're just gonna yeet this car off of a cliff into a, I would say 200-300 foot drop into a ravine full of water.
And like they really didn't have to. Like, I mean, I think there was enough time for them to like make a turn.
Yeah, like, they could have just like had just stopped or just literally driven another direction.
Yeah. But, like, no, they're just, Vin Diesel's like, fuck this shit, man. And then just drives off a cliff, and I guess the car breaks the surface tension so their bones don't turn to jelly.
Yeah, because as we learned in Mythbusters, if you just had something heavy hit the water before you won't be injured. Also, there was a good bit when the car careens off the cliff. You see, like, Vince, Vin, and Paul, like, kind of react as they're, like, falling in the air.
Yeah, and they do this like Spider-Man pose as they're like falling,
like they're bracing themselves. Like, oh wait, we're getting paid millions of dollars to fall off a cliff, but it's still scary.
Yeah.
So they get scooped up by the baddies and get taken to this warehouse where they just get chained up and threatened. And Vince, and I keep wanting to say Vince,
Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel, he just like whatever, just busts out of these chains with his own god strength.
Because apparently he's fucking Superman in this movie. Which, granted, he's not the only one.
There's definitely another person vying for that title. Just a jacked-this dude who just won't take a licking.
Yeah, but apparently these cars were owned by the main villain of this movie. That guy really isn't relevant. He's just kind of a plot device.
Yeah, because like that's kind of a thing with the Fast and Furious so far, that none of the villains are threatening or even memorable.
No, I think that changes later on.
I think
because like then they start bringing in like Luke Evans, Jason Statham, but right now they're kind of just like
here is
Hispanic dudes, which you know that's kind of uncomfortable. But you know,
insert drug lord here.
Yeah, it's always some like cartel drug lord dude, but I don't even remember his name. He's not fucking important. He's just a fucking obstacle. I think his name was like Reyes or something.
Yeah, Herman Reyes.
So, you know, he intimidates them. They end up escaping. And at this point, because in the scuffle on the train, Reyes' dudes killed 3 DEA agents. And, you know, they were able to put eyes on, you know, the Toretto gang. And it's like, well, these guys, we got to bring them down. So guess who they send? None other than Dwayne "The Rock" fucking Johnson.
The
the sweatiest motherfucker who ever fucking existed.
Because even when he's in like nighttime air conditioned room, he is just at every moment in this movie just flop sweat.
Just like he is a very moist boy.
Like I'm halfway expecting him just to pull out his towel, just like a mop. He just constantly has a towel. Because like I guess technically, The Rock is considered obese because like he's over 300 pounds of just body mass.
Yeah,
and it doesn't matter if you're just Jello or like pork. Either way, it's still obese.
Yeah, and like I read somewhere his like cheat day meal, and it's fucking insane. It's like multiple burgers, a whole like large pizza, and a bunch of other shit. I'm like, how the fuck are you still alive?
Yeah, like I feel like it must be physically exhausting just to exist as The Rock. Just like the amount of food you have to intake just to be like normal is like far more than any other human being.
I mean, I have to say, like on average, he probably consumes at least 4,000 calories a day just to keep up that just fucking brick house of a body. But anywho, that leads to The Rock, them giving The Rock the PG-13 fuck of the movie.
He gets the one fuck. It's like, get the fuck out of my way.
Yeah, and then there's this like weird like kind of C or D plot in this movie with this like patrol officer lady.
Yeah,
that The Rock brings in. And he has like a reason for it, but it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, because her name is Elena Neves.
Yeah, and like the one guy's like, why the fuck are we bringing this like low level, basically security guard? He's like, I like her smile.
So like she's the one lady on his team, and but she has like this insight, you know. She has like this insight, this intuition,
because and The Rock fucking sees it because apparently her husband was killed by one of Reyes's guys, so she has motivation to take him down.
Yeah,
it doesn't really make sense, but you know,
she's there, and you know she's not a bad character.
No, she's not. As far as like female characters in the series, I mean,
I guess technically she gets some more action than Giselle and Mia do in certain respects. Mia especially.
Yeah, she's kind of gets sidelined in this movie.
Just like she's like I'm watching the monitor and on the walkie-talkie telling the boys that shit's going down.
So they end up reuniting with Mia and shit, and
because they have the cars that Reyes was sort of they sold from Reyes, but they're full of like drug lord microchips.
Yeah, that have like information of where he keeps his money, like different storehouses around the city and whatnot. And this is where like the movie kind of like events kind of blend together in my mind, because then like Vince comes back and then kind of like low key betrays them, and then he comes back like in the last act of the movie, basically.
Yeah, because Vince is like because they get kind of caught by like the boogity boos of the drug lords team, and like Vince, you sold us out, but you didn't really your actions in it unknowingly led to them to get made, and they blame him for it, and he's just like, well, hold on, bitch, it was all because of you, dumb, and you're like stealing DVDs and like VCR players that fucked up everybody's lives.
Those fucking DVD VCR combos.
Remember we were fighting fucking 18-wheeler drivers with fucking sawed-off shotties? It's because of you, Vince. Goddamn, Vin. Because, like, Mia, she's got to live on...
But Vince, we're a family. Now say grace, bitch.
Yeah, that comes later when he's like, I forgive you.
And I shit you not, like, Vince is the Judas character, and I'm just going to say it. This movie is a fucking allegory for the Gospels and early Christianity. Fight me. I'm not going to explain it further. Think for yourself. Fucking Dom, he's Jesus.
If you want to know more, tip $5 on Ko-fi.
Yes, and then...
After we make it.
After we make it, and then we'll make a fucking, like, 3-hour fucking Charlie from Always Sunny corkboard. Just like, this is how this connects.
And so, like, they have this little spat. Vince throws off his fucking mic drop. And it's like, where's Letty, Dom? Where's Letty? And he just leaves. But just like, damn, stone cold.
Stone cold. But not Steve Austin.
Not Steve Austin. So they hatched their hair bringing it up. What if we just steal all the money from the drug lord? Get the money and then just go about our way and never do anything criminal related ever again.
Because it's like, what, $10 million or something like that?
$100 million.
$100 million. Oh, shit, yeah.
Because, like, when they get the team in and everybody gets their chunk of the money, everybody gets $10 million apiece.
Yeah. And so this is basically the Avengers of the Fast series, because we bringing in all the greatest hits from all the other movies. We got Ludacris, we got Tyrese, we got Gal Gadot, and her just like no torso having leg ass.
Gal Gadot is 90% leg in this movie.
And I will not be convinced otherwise. The Dominican brothers.
And we also got Han.
And Han, because... You know, fucking Tokyo Drift is like...
In the future, technically.
Yeah, it's like a sequel?
Yeah, because, like, okay, just to show how beloved Han is as a character, they just inexorably fuck up the timeline.
Oh, yeah.
Just to keep his... Like, God bless him for it. But also just, like, with just flagrant disregard for their own continuity.
Oh, man. Like, they fucking change fucking... Dom's backstory with his dad in this movie.
Yeah, because in the first movie, like, yeah, my dad was an abusive piece of shit. Used to hit me every night, and I took the hits from my sister. And then in this movie, it's like, yeah, my dad, he used to help my sister with her homework. And then he would, when she'd go to bed, he'd read a little head in the book just so he could help her for next week. And it's like, either they retconned their dad being a piece of shit, or he's just, like, misremembering shit because of trauma.
Or, hear me out, third option. Bringing it back to the allegory. Fucking Dom's dad is God. and the discrepancies between the story are the discrepancies between Old Testament God and New Testament God.
You know.
Think about it.
Think about it. So, very real, maybe. So, they're like, okay, we got the gang together. We got to figure out how to get all the money. So, they're just like, they bust into one of the drug houses, but they don't steal the money. They burn it so they can get him to put all the money into one spot so they can seal it that way.
Yeah, but what they don't count on is that one place being a police station.
The police station. And the biggest, acidest safe you ever did see.
Yeah, also ACAP, because these cops fucking suck. Because they're all corrupt under this one drug lord's money.
Yeah, because this one guy has enough money to put all of Rio de Janeiro under his thumb and pocket.
Dun dun dun.
So it's like, okay, we got to figure out how to hack the safe and get in. Good thing our street racer guy Tej is also secretly world-class hacker.
Like hacker, locksmith, bunch of other just computer brain. Like he's just like this fucking genius. And they kind of like acknowledge it. They're like, what the fuck? Where did this come from? He's like, out of life before that you don't know about.
Which is why we need the Fast and Furious Gaiden series, where you focus on one character and explain what the fuck they did in between the movies when you weren't looking or beforehand. Because all we knew about Tej before is like he was a street racer, had a bad wreck, and he just moved strictly to booking stuff. And now he's just like secretly world-class hacker man. I'm in.
Apparently. And I mean, if we're going into this new age of media dystopia where everything is just a remake or of a franchise, I mean, might as well make these fucking a Fast and Furious story, Tej.
Yeah, give Tej and Roman a movie together.
Oh man, that would be fucking hilarious.
And give Han his own movie because he has just he uses the same language. Like, okay, well I need to practice on this safe to know how to get it unlocked, and then Han just in his back pocket has the exact same 10-ton rarity safe just plopped into this warehouse that they're in. It's like, how the fuck did you get that, Han? I had a life before you met me.
It's just like, what the fuck?
Because when you steal the Yakuza's money, you can just do whatever the fuck.
Apparently, but also too out of all the characters. like even the Dominican guys have something to do. Like Han is just kind of there, for most of the plot, and I don't mind because.
I mean, I just love Han being there.
He is the best character in the series.
I mean, he gets to buy a safe, and he gets to
bone fucking Gal Gadot.
No, Gal Gadot gets to bone him.
Oh yeah, let's be real. Like she's fucking topping his ass.
Yeah, and it's like she just stands on him with her like 6 foot long legs, and just like she's like, lick it, bitch.
For real. And I mean, she's like a fucking foot taller than him too.
It's like she's just so like we say it every episode, but like also we're still concerned about the women in the movie because like one, they're just all very rail thin, and it's just a little scary thin.
Yeah, it's not like, and it's really kind of shitty to criticize because that's like the expectation women have. Mm-hmm. So you don't want to criticize something that they're being kind of forced to do, but like also too like, honey, here's a Big Mac and a Snickers, because like you were saying, it's not that they're thin, it's like they're like anorexic thin.
Women are allowed to have different body types.
Get
some variety. Like until they have like some muscle mommies in this franchise, they'll always be lacking.
Well, I mean, I've seen Michelle Rodriguez in the later movies, and that bitch fucking
strong,
shredded.
Okay, so like they managed to wind their way out. So they're like, okay, we have this safe, unknown way. Now we just need a fingerprint. So they have the Gal Gadot go bikini mode, and then have Herman Reyes just rub up on her booty butt, and they just get a flawless fingerprint from her cloth bikini.
Yeah, because that's how that shit works.
That they're all touching with their naked hands, just like, oh, that was on her ass.
Yeah, and then of course that leads to like one of like the main lines of the movie is like,
so he just slapped the ass and he grabbed on hold of that thing,
and that's like a line that comes back.
Yeah, because after that, it's starting to blur in my head. Because like one, there is kind of like a lull in the movie, like after the big action scenes, are kind of like them putting the case together. But also, we had imbibed a lot of Malibu rum, so like
well that, and also too like, and I will say in the movie's defense, it doesn't have a second act lull like a lot of movies of this type do, because even though a lot of the events kind of blur together, I mean, one, we kind of don't have like a fucking timeline of events of this fucking movie, but also too like it's sort of like your general like heist movie type plot beats. They lay out the plan, they try to they test different limits, see how they could get in. They have a plan, the plan goes wrong, they have to revise the plan, that sort of thing. But like it's never really dull, at least my opinion.
No, I guess when I said lull, maybe that man misspoke, but like there definitely is a moment where like things kind of settle down.
Yeah, like the I don't want to say the plot stops, but it's definitely just more just like event after event of them trying to figure out how to break into this place.
But during like all the sort of like them casing and like plotting, you do get the bombshell when Mia announces to the group that she's pregnant,
and like at the most inopportune time.
Because once she finds out when they like crash in Vince's house, and then they had this like rip roaring like parkour chase sequence in the favela.
Oh man, we totally forgot about that.
When like the Rock squad like finds them, just like, oh yeah, we chasing all these hoes, and then also the Reyes men are on top of it. So it's like one, like Rock is trying to chase Vin Diesel through the street to the rooftop, but also killing the fuck out of some drug lord dudes.
The fucking Rock like rips a dude's head off. I swear
and just
to
like
God.
like jams a knife through the bottom of some dude's chin. And,
like for PG-13, this movie's pretty gnarly at points.
And then like what I remember reading about that whole rooftop sequence was that one, they had, because they couldn't really film in Rio, they had to like retrofit like a lot of neighborhoods in Puerto Rico to look like the shanty towns.
Yeah.
In Rio, and plus they said it was extremely difficult to do. Like it took like 4 weeks to transform Puerto Rico into Rio.
Jesus.
And like they said, like running across the rooftops was really hard because one, it's just like the heat was so intense, and like everything was slippery, and also apparently just a ton of stray animals that they constantly had to run away from and dodge during all the filmings of those scenes.
Oh, I can imagine.
Like a lot of dogs and chickens and shit. And also apparently in this whole time where like Mia and Brian are jumping and bouncing off roofs and falling through buildings, like at no point did Mia miscarry this fucking baby.
She must not be that far along yet.
Like they like literally the night before, just like, oh shit, because they're like trying to figure out, oh Brian, Don, what we gotta do? We gotta find a place. We gotta hide. We gotta run. And she's like, I'm pregnant.
Yeah, she's like, we gotta split up. You know, it's the only way to be safe. I'm pregnant.
Like it just stops everything.
And literally the movie just stops, and they're like, what?
It's like, are you sure? What's this blood trail coming out of your back leg?
We're not going to talk about that. What's this little bean thing?
It's okay, babe. Put it back in at 3-second rule.
Fuck off. He fucking said that last night too.
God, I got a good pop out of him too. I don't apologize for that.
God, that was fucking hilarious.
So, well, speaking of The Rock, he chased him in the 5 LAs, but now he's on him again. Because like everybody's out trying to do their own little shtick, but then The Rock using his just domineering FBI ways on his little hard-working team.
Oh my God, yeah.
He fucking runs to the ground. And he's like, oh fuck, they found us. And then The Rock rolls up like 20 deep full of people, and then leads to just the brawlness ass fight between The Rock and Vin Diesel.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of stuff we skipped over. Like I said, general heist stuff doesn't matter. Anyway, yeah, this fucking brawl is pretty gnarly. Just like they fucking just man meat, just slapping against each other.
Just like big meaty men bumping meat.
Mm-hmm. Fucking Rock is the sweatiest he is in the entire movie at this point.
And then that's why Vance can't get a hold of him, because he's just slipping out of his hand. Just like he's just slick.
He's like a greased pig.
Well, technically, because he is a cop.
A cab.
So, but apparently that fight was extremely difficult to shoot. It took like almost a month of rehearsals, and then it took over a week to film just that fight.
Oh, I can, because it's long and pretty in depth, because they crashed through like 15 different walls, like fucking 2 kaiju Kool-Aid men,
Just like busting through the walls. And plus, like they have like these contracts that they can only take so many licks in a movie,
which is fucking stupid.
because like The Rock's wrestling brain and politicking is just ruined him for action movies. Just like, I can only take like 5 real punches or else I'm walking. And then like, you know,
it's like, but bruh, dramatic tension, my man.
yeah, cause you know,
Like just like fucking storytelling,
that's how it is. Like
conflict.
yeah, he's so used to being on top in wrestling that like he doesn't know what it's like to sell from someone else. It's always shine me up.
Exactly.
But then like he does kind of get like on the low down, because Vin Diesel has like his fucking wrench. He's like, oh, remember this thing? Remember the time I almost killed a man with a wrench? He goes, whack, almost. But you think he knocks his brain loose. Actually, he misses at the last second. Because like, I ain't gonna do it, man. You ain't worth it.
So anyway, they end up getting arrested and on their way back, and then just they're driving by, and then you just see in the corner of the fucking screen a dude with a fucking RPG just shoots one of the trucks, and shit just goes nuts.
And what's funny right before that is that they're in these tiny little hillside streets. It ain't just like fucking flying, just like literally airborne over these humps and hills.
Oh, and these cars don't look real. Like they look like fucking Hot Wheels.
Because like literally, like Rock's car or van that he's in is like a fucking like
Armored tank.
like a hunk of metal just with 4 little wheels, just like bump 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 bump. And the rest of these dudes
are just in like Hummers.
well, it's like 6 like the jackedest men ever, can't even turn their arms or legs, are just mashed into underarm t-shirts and mashed 4 deep into a minivan, and wonder why they couldn't escape when they got flipped upside down.
Exactly. And then the fucking shit goes loose. Rez, man, just kills everybody except for The Rock.
Yeah, all Rock seen dead.
They dead. Vin Diesel ends up saving him, And then, they get back to the warehouse and they're like, well, what the fuck are we going to do? We lost our timeline.
Well, hold on. We get back up because, like, during the firefight where Vince is, God damn it,
Vin
Diesel's team helps out. Vince gets shot.
Oh, yeah, and he dies.
And he's like, oh, by the way, man, my son, we named him after you, Nico. And looking at
And they have to explain how that works.
Just like, yeah, because your name's Dominic. He's like, but Nico's not my name. He just fucking dies.
Yeah, R.I.P. Kind of a legend, not really.
And it was funny that, like, while we're watching this, like, kind of dramatic moment, we were just like, damn, they got these giant slamming pecs and these white, wet T-shirts.
Oh, my God. They got literal heaving breasts.
It's like just stat. And plus, every time they come into frame, like, their chest hits it. Comes out about a second before their head.
Oh, yeah. Well, and then, like, in other parts of the movie, like, especially when, like, Brian and Vince are, like, going at it, like, the first thing that pops out is them that fucking chest.
Just like...
you want to go, bro?
Just like, Chad.
You want to fucking peg me, bro?
Yeah, man, later.
How about right now?
Okay, man. Just like, here, like, a belt tie on over his actual cock.
God. They fucking take the belt, make a collar out of it, go into town.
Because, like, of course, whatever gay tension and homoerogy was in the first few films, it's cranked the fuck up in this one. It's like gay action.
I mean, this is part of gay culture at this point. I won't be told otherwise.
It's like, you see the pantheon of gay movies. Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. Wan Fu, Fast Five.
But I'm a cheerleader.
That's the Mount Rushmore of gay cinema.
Hell yes.
So Vince, R.I.P. They feel like, okay, we can't be fucking around no more. It's go time. We got to get this game in gear.
Well, like, their original plan, they can't do anymore. The timeline's fucked. It's like, oh no, they'll fucking know. Blah, blah, blah. And then The Rock's like, I'll fucking help you this one time. Because they fucking literally massacred all my dudes.
So,
like, what the fuck?
So they decide to, like, the hell with all this namby-pamby sneaking around shit. We're just going to literally drive his fucking metal tank van through the police station wall and just yank the safe out the wall.
I think you're underselling what's happening. They fucking Kool-Aid Man through the wall. They get 2 Dodge Chargers, hook up to this safe, rip that bitch out of the wall, and then drive it through the streets of Rio while simultaneously using it as a weapon.
Somehow the 10-ton safe maneuvers like it weighs nothing. And then at the same time, it has, whenever it hits something, it is like full velocity. Because, like, we have 10,000 cops chasing them. But also, every time they turn a corner, it just whips and destroys everything.
Like, it takes out, like, part of a building. Like, anytime it comes in contact with a vehicle, that vehicle's just fucked. Just, like, crunch.
What was that great bit where it's, like, tumbling in over in, like, through, like, a bus station, just, like, smashing people... Like, not smashing people, but smashing the buildings and glass as the people, like, running for their lives.
Yeah. And I remember, like, the first time watching this, from this point on, I was just screaming. Because, like, it doesn't sound that crazy as we're explaining it. It's seeing it in action and how just butt-fucking insane. Because I'm not exaggerating when I say they use this bitch as a fucking weapon.
Like, Dom and Brian are just, like, in, like, gay lover...
Just synchronicity.
Yeah, they have, like, psychic link where, like, one they will turn and then, like, oh, there's a car, Dom, and just, like, whips and just smashes all these, and they just kind of, like, tag team in and out with this car. Then there's a point where, like, one's driving forward and one's, like, just driving in reverse, so it's just, like, one pulling it, and they do the opposite. And then there's one where they, like, stop and the cord goes taut and it flips some biker off into the air, like, I don't know, shatters his legs.
Just bye, bitch. All this, like, I mean, we can't explain it.
It has to be seen to believe.
It has to be seen. So, but it builds up to the apex where it's on this like long ass bridge, and at this point, fucking Reyes, know nothing Bill, and he gets fucking ganked by this fucking safe.
When they're going down the bridge, this is when they pull out all the stops.
Cars are eating shit.
Cars are flying, they're getting smashed, and then Dom, in part of his Christ-like move, self-sacrifices himself, so all the Reyes and the cops will follow after him, and Brian and Mia can get away because like all this gobbledygook, and then he just pulls out the wildest shit, just swinging this safe around, smashing cars, fucking slices the top of the car off with the cord.
It's like, what the fuck? Then, ends up killing the villain.
Because Rock kills, because after like he smashes the bad guy's car, he jumps out of his car and his car flies over the bridge in the water.
Yeah.
And the safe stays, but like the one bad guy that always gets away, the little lieutenant guy.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna shoot him. I'm gonna shoot Dom, and then Brian pops up and caps him.
Was it Brian or The Rock?
No, Brian shoots the
Oh, yeah.
lieutenant guy, and the Rock shows up and blows him away with his fucking hand cannon.
Yeah. At this point, The Rock is like, you're still fucking fugitives, but I'll give you a head start. He's like, but you gotta leave the safe here. And they're like, okay. And then they leave, and then The Rock and then the patrol officer lady, they open the safe, and much like Jesus' tomb after 3 days, it's gone. It's empty. There's nothing there. And then they flash back to show how this happened through all the carnage.
It's like because you see at one point them go underneath the underpass, passing a garbage truck. Well, what really had happened is that they took the real safe, slid it onto the garbage truck, and then took the fake safe that they bought that was identical to it, strapped it onto Brian and Dom's car, and they drove off with the empty one while the dump truck went away with the real bitch.
And the thing is, it's so fucking good because they set it up earlier with the just fake safe that fucking Han pulls literally out of his ass.
So like they get back to their hidey hole. Tez uses his painting hand to unlock the safe, and there it is, 100 million wing wangs ready for the taking.
That's the first time I've ever heard that term, but all right.
So they all get their money, and they all go their separate ways, and you have this little montage of everybody showing off what they did with their flashy cash.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, they make a reference to Tokyo Drift.
But then they also keep the door open enough for, like, we got some other shit we might do. It's like, because him and Giselle are just, like, fucking in the car.
She on his cock.
As they're flying down the road at 100 miles per hour. It's like, where are we going to go, babe? It's like, I don't know. Let's go to wherever.
Madrid or somewhere.
And it's like, what about Tokyo? Oh, we'll get there eventually. It was like look to camera type shit.
Yeah. But then, it sort of cuts back to Vin and Paul Walker as, they're on some, like, idyllic tropical beach setting. Fucking Vin Diesel has a new boo thing. Doesn't matter. Letty's coming back in the next one. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, and besides, Mia is just a surrogate for Brian and Dom's baby anyway.
Exactly.
It's like, hey, sis, could you do me a solid and, like, have my boyfriend and my baby?
And she's 100% down.
Because, like, you know what? My boyfriend already thinks of you when he bangs me anyway, so what difference does it make?
Exactly. And then they have one last race
to see who's the real speed champion.
Cut to credits
of them, like, zipping around to the montage of all the places they've been in the movie series up to that point.
And then cut to credits. Cue ludicrous song.
What was that song called? Furiously Dangerous, Dangerously Furious. It was something weird.
Yeah, it was something stupid. But it was kind of a banger. But then there's a mid-credit scene, a la Marvel.
Yep.
Fucking Rock sitting at his desk, and then fucking
Eva Mendes
shows up
from Fast and Furious 2.
In case you forgot, Too Fast, Too Furious.
And then she's like, I got a crazy case of just wild heist on a train. And it's like, was it Toretto Gang? No. Like, I want to hear it.
But then he's like, do you believe people can come back from the dead?
And then it's like, what? She opens up the file, and it's fucking Letty.
Dun, dun, dun.
She wasn't dead. She wasn't dead at all.
getting ready for the sequel.
Fast
Where she's like the fucking Winter Soldier or some shit.
Yeah, because like going forward, we're kind of both in uncharted waters because this is the furthest I've seen in the franchise.
Likewise, so it'll be interesting to see where this goes.
Because I know for a lot of people, the consensus is Fast 5 is kind of the peak, and then like 6 and 7 are pretty solid, and there's definitely some waffling people who have opinions about 8. But usually the next, the trilogy of like 5 to 7 is sort of like where it's the series is extremely profitable and more or less very positively reviewed.
Yeah.
I'm very interested to see where they go because apparently they do some shit in 6. It's like, okay, 5 seemed pretty realistic, but then like they just go really. It seems like they always set the bar for something fucking insane. That's why allegedly we're going to space in fucking 10.
I'm ready. My pussy's ready. That's fucking wet and quivering.
Are you mad that my pussy pops severely and yours doesn't? But yeah, Fast 5, it's a literal hoot and a holler. It has himbo religious allegories, the craziest, audacious action committed to celluloid, and just like giant, sweaty chads.
I mean, what else can you ask?
If you have anything to ask for, keep it to yourself, because all your demands have to be unreasonable at this point.
Yeah, and they must be fucking horny as shit.
So, like, we're really excited to get back on track with the Fast and Furious, and we hope you're ready to resume the ride and join us along to the rest of the journey on the road to Fast 9.
Yes, as we hit the NOS going forward.
NOS!
Which they only did that once in this movie.
Yeah, because I guess they were moving away from, like, the street racing, so, like, the NOS isn't as important. But it'll always be important in our heart.
But, yeah, that's Fast 5. That... God, this is fucking great. It's so fun.
Unabashedly, I unabashedly love this whole franchise. But then, like, I feel like I can hold that Fast 5 at least to somewhat be like, hey, this is actually a solid action movie.
Yeah, like, for real.
Like, no irony, not that I believe in consuming things ironically, but, like, this is legitimately fun, and I say good. Y'all don't like it, tough titties, I guess. So, like,
I mean... Needless to say, you sound boring.
So, on a bad day, this movie's a 4.5 out of 5.
Yes. If you're just feeling bad, this movie's butt fucking sane enough.
This will get you pumped up. This will get you hyped. This will get you thumping your chest.
It will at least get you a little dose of serotonin, even if you hate it.
It's just like, there's too much crazy in this movie not to be, like, in some way, like, entertained or amused. So,
if for nothing else, the audacity.
If nothing else. But also, just thank you all so much for being patient with us as we sort of get this series back on track. We appreciate you going back and re-listening to all those old episodes. Those are doing well. We appreciate you still get enjoyment out of those. And I hope you will be with us as we go forward. And just want to thank you so much for listening today. You can follow us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, Google Podcasts, Overcast, Spotify, and any RSS feed catcher out there. Be sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe. All those platforms helps us out, keeps us up high in algorithms, and puts us in front of these people, and we appreciate you when you do that. You can follow us on our socials, on Twitter and Instagram at AYCH Podcast, on Letterboxd and Facebook at AllYouCanHear, on Twitch at twitch.tv/AllYouCanHear, and YouTube as well, which is also at AllYouCanHear. And lastly, follow me, Patrick, on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at John Lost His Name, and my art on Facebook at John Lost His Name Art.
My name is Jonathan. You can follow me on Twitter at JONIIBOI24 and Letterboxd at JohnOwnSon12. And remember to stay hungry.
Stay hungry, everybody. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.